The sound tore across the plains like lightning. By the stream, where just minutes earlier peace had reigned, a female gorilla was fighting for her life, trapped in the deadly coils of a giant python. The water had turned cloudy with mud stirred up by the struggle, and on the bank, a silverback alpha male watched with eyes overflowing with something no human ever expects to see in a wild animal: pure desperation. He had tried to tear the snake off with his powerful hands, but the reptile's constricting force was relentless, mathematical, lethal. Then it happened. The gorilla turned his face toward the jeep. His eyes met the human's, and he roared, not in fury, not in threat. It was something else. The experienced guides, men who had spent decades in the reserve, felt a chill they had never known before, because that sound, impossible to misunderstand, was a plea. Before we continue with this incredible story, tell us where you're reading from. Comment your city or country below. We want to know how far a story of compassion that crosses species can travel. Leave your comment now. The morning had begun like any other photo safari in the windy reserve. The sun rose lazily over the African horizon, painting the sky with golden and orange tones worthy of every postcard the tourists had seen before their trip. Sarah, an Australian photographer, adjusted her telephoto lens. Marcos, a Brazilian engineer on his honeymoon, held his wife's hand as he pointed out a group of colobus monkeys in the tree canopy. Guide Joseph, a man of 50 with a face carved by 1,000 stories, drove confidently along the rugged path as if he knew every stone by name. They had located the gorilla family near the stream shortly after 8 a.m. It was a small group: the alpha male, 2 adult females, and 3 juveniles playing among the foliage. Joseph stopped the vehicle at a respectful distance, turned off the engine, and gave his usual talk about staying quiet and avoiding sudden movements. The tourists obeyed, overwhelmed by the closeness of these gentle giants who share 98% of their DNA with humans. One of the females separated from the group and approached the stream to drink. The water ran crystal clear over rocks polished by centuries of current. She knelt, dipped her huge hands, and brought water to her mouth with a delicacy almost human. Cameras clicked softly. It was the perfect moment, the living postcard they had all come to see. Nobody saw the python coming. It emerged from the water like a liquid nightmare, its mottled body blending perfectly with the shadows beneath the stream. It must have been over 5 meters long, its thickness comparable to a grown man's torso. It moved with impossible speed for something so massive. In less than 3 seconds, it had wrapped its first coil around the gorilla's torso. The female's scream tore through the morning air. It was a sound no one present would ever forget. It was terror in its purest form. The alpha male reacted instantly. He crossed the distance to the stream in 3 earth-shaking strides. He lunged into the water, grabbing the snake with both hands, pulling with a strength that could uproot a young tree. But pythons do not kill with venom or fangs. They kill with geometry. With every breath the victim takes, the snake tightens its coils, millimeter by millimeter, until no room remains for the next breath. The snake had now wrapped 2 full coils around the female. A third was forming around her neck. The male roared, a sound of fury and frustration that resonated in every human chest. He dug his fingers beneath the python's scales, trying to pry it open as if opening a tin can. But for every centimeter he gained, the snake compensated somewhere else. It was an impossible equation. The female began losing consciousness, her movements weaker, her eyes glassy. The stream had become chaos. Splashes, mud, terror. The juveniles shrieked from the shore, unable to approach, unable to run. The second adult female paced in circles, crying out in anguish. In the jeep, the humans watched in horror. Some cried. Others shouted uselessly as if their voices could change anything. Joseph gripped the steering wheel, his face twisted with helplessness. He knew the rules. Do not interfere. Never interfere. Nature must take its course. No matter how brutal, But what was about to happen would change those rules forever. The alpha male was a veteran. The scars on his silver back told stories of battles with leopards, of fights with rival males, of years surviving in one of the harshest ecosystems on Earth. He had protected his family for nearly a decade. He had lost infants to disease. He had watched his previous mate die during a drought. He knew death. He accepted it as part of the cycle. But this was different. He could feel the life leaving his mate's body. His strength, enormous, legendary, was not enough. The python was pure mechanical death, indifferent to pain, to emotion, to desperation. Then he did something extraordinary. He stopped fighting. For a moment that felt eternal, he went completely still. His hands still touched the snake, but he no longer pulled. His chest rose and fell rapidly. Mud and water clung to his dark fur. Slowly, like every movement cost him everything, he turned his head toward the jeep. 12 human eyes met his. Joseph felt something break inside him. 30 years as a guide, he had seen lions bring down, buffalo, hyenas tear apart, prey still, alive. Crocodiles drag wildebeest underwater. He had learned to keep emotional distance, but the eyes of the gorilla were not empty. There was intelligence, recognition, and something even more disturbing. Hope. The alpha opened his mouth. His huge canines, capable of breaking bones, gleamed. His throat tightened, and then came the roar. Not a warning, not dominance. A sound that transcended species and spoke directly to the ancient part of the human brain. A sound from a time when all primates were family. Joseph faced the hardest moment of his career. Logic screamed, "Do not interfere." But his body had already made the decision. "Sarah," he said with a trembling voice, "we have to do something." He took the most important decision of his life. Everyone out. Now. Grab anything you can use as leverage. Branches, sticks, anything. No one questioned him. In seconds, strangers became a rescue unit. The alpha stepped aside. He made space. He allowed them in. What followed was a coordinated battle of strength and will, gorilla and human, together, pulling, straining, not giving up, and the python's coils began to loosen. The female gasped. She was alive. The python retreated, defeated. The silence that followed felt holy. On the shore, the alpha knelt beside the female, touching her gently, helping her breathe. She coughed, weak, painful, but alive. Joseph stepped out of the water first. His legs shook, not from effort but from the enormity of what had happened. The alpha stood, walked toward the humans.